Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the United States.
Extraordinary representatives who are here. Betty Sutton and Marcy Captain. It's great to see all of you who are here. Yes, I love you back. This is the final stop. Our 48-hour fly around all across America. We've been going for 2 days straight.
Stand right here, you can see him.
We've been from the East Coast to the West Coast. And now we're going back east again. We just made a quick stop in Chicago so I could vote. I can't tell you who I voted for because it's a secret ballot. But Michelle told me she voted for me. Ohio, I gotta tell you, even though I've been going for about 38 hours straight, even though my voice is getting kind of hoarse, I've still got a spring in my step. Because our cause is right. Because we're fighting for the future. I've come to Ohio today to ask you for your vote. The good news is I'm asking for your vote, and I'm asking you to vote early. In Ohio, you can vote now. You don't have to vote later. I need you to vote early, and I need your help to keep moving America forward. Look, we've already now had 3 debates. We've had a year of campaigning. We have had way too many TV commercials. I feel bad for the state of Ohio. We've had a lot of commercials. You've now heard Governor Romney's sales pitch. Don't move, vote. But Governor Romney's been running around saying he's got a 5-point plan to fix the economy. Turns out it's only a 1-point plan. Folks at the very top get to play by a different set of rules than you do. They get to pay a lower tax rate, outsource more jobs, let Wall Street run wild again. It was the philosophy he had when he was in the private sector. It was the philosophy he had as a governor in Massachusetts. And if it sounds familiar, it's because we just tried that philosophy in the decade before I took office. And we know what happened. It didn't work. Jobs were being shipped overseas at a record pace. Incomes were falling. Record deficits, the slowest job growth in half a century. Incomes were not going up, they were going down. The worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. That's what those ideas produced. And we've been working for 4 years now, Ohio, to clean up the mess that those policies left behind. Everyone understands this. He knows his plan is no different than what we tried under the previous president. So in the final weeks of this election, since he knows that it's probably not going to be real popular, he's trying to kind of fuzz things up a little bit. He's counting on you to forget. He's hoping that you come down with what we call a case of amnesia. He's hoping you won't remember that his economic plan is more likely to create jobs in China than here in Ohio because it rewards companies that ship jobs overseas instead of companies that create jobs right here in Ohio, right here in the United States of America. He's hoping you won't remember that he wants to give millionaires and billionaires a $250,000 tax cut. And the reason you can't explain it is because the only way to pay for it is either by blowing a hole in the deficit, making it even bigger, or making your taxes higher. Don't move on again. He's hoping that if he just keeps on saying how much he loves cars over and over again, that you won't remember he wrote an article titled, that was titled, "Let Detroit Go Bankrupt." I don't know how a guy sits on a stage talking to tens of millions of fellow Americans, and you are saying somehow that you were all for the auto industry when everybody remembers you weren't. The people of Detroit remember. The people of Ohio remember. When the auto industry was on the verge of collapse, we might not have an American auto industry today. We'd be buying cars from China.
I like Cadillac. That's all I drive.
1 in 8 Ohio jobs. It's a source of pride to the state.
That's my work car.
It's a source of pride for generations of workers. I refuse to walk away from those workers. I refuse to walk away from those jobs. Go bankrupt, or Lordstown go bankrupt. I bet on American workers. I bet on American manufacturing. And I do it again because that bet always pays off. So now in the closing moments of the election, Governor Romney's hoping you too will come down with a severe case of amnesia.
No!
So I'm here to tell you, Cleveland, if you start feeling a temperature, if your eyes are getting a little blurry, your hearing's getting a little muffled, if you're feeling a little weak, you need to know that whatever the symptoms are, don't worry, Obamacare covers pre-existing. We can fix it out. We can make you well. If you're Ohio, you just have to make sure to vote. amnesia. But it's not funny. Because it speaks to something serious. It is what I say. I say what I mean. You know that I've been willing to take some tough positions even when they're not popular. And by the way, saying that the auto industry wasn't popular when we were doing it even in Ohio, even in Michigan. But it was the right thing to do. You know that every single day when I get up in the morning, I'm thinking about you. When I walk into that local office, I'm fighting for your families. And we may not have got every single thing done that we need to get done, but I have kept the commitments and the promises that I made. I told you we'd end the war in Iraq, and we did. I said we transitioned out of Afghanistan, and we are. I said we'd refocus on the terrorists who actually carried out the 9/11 attacks, and Al-Qaeda is decimated, and Osama bin Laden is dead. Towers rising above the New York skyline. Our heroes are starting to come home. I kept those promises. And I was proud and humbled to learn today that we have Colin Powell's support in this game. And I'm grateful to him because of his lifetime of service for his country. As a soldier, as a diplomat. But I'm also grateful to every brave American who serves in uniform. And they should know this, as long as I'm the Lord Commander-in-Chief, I will sustain the strongest military the world has ever known. That's a promise I've kept. 4 years ago, I promised to cut taxes for families like yours, for middle-class families. We kept that promise. I promised to cut taxes for small businesses. We've cut taxes for small businesses 18 times. I kept that promise. I promised to end taxpayer-funded bailouts to Wall Street. I kept that promise, and we got every dime back that we used to rescue the financial system. I promised that we would make sure that nobody in this great country of ours goes bankrupt if somebody in their family gets sick. We've kept that promise. I promised to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, because anybody who's willing to serve our country should be able to, with honor and dignity, regardless of who they are. I kept that promise. I said that we would keep the American auto industry going, and today its engines are roaring at full throttle. Nearly 250,000 new jobs. Not just something the Midwest can be proud of, something America can be proud of. We're moving forward, Ohio. After losing 9 million jobs in the Great Recession, using the policies that Romney now wants to bring back, that caused all those jobs to be lost, we've now added, using my policies, more than 5 million new jobs in the past 2.5 years. The unemployment rate is falling. Manufacturing's coming back to our shores. Assembly lines are humming again. We've got a long way to go. In Ohio, we've come too far to turn back now. We can't go backwards to the policies that cause us so much trouble, that hurt so many families. We've got to stick to the policies that are getting us out of this mess. I need you, Ohio. America needs you, Ohio. That's why I'm running for a second term as President of the United States. And unlike Mr. Romney, I'm proud to talk about what is actually in my plan. Because my plan adds up. The math works. If you want to take a look, go to BarackObama.com/plans. I want you to share it with your neighbors, share it with your friends, share it with your coworkers. There's still people out there who are trying to make up their minds. Some of you may be still trying to make up your mind. Maybe your girlfriend brought you here, and she said, I'm going to convince you tonight you need to vote for Obama. But you haven't made up your mind yet. Maybe your grandma said, you need to vote for Obama. And you said, okay, Grandma, I'll come, but you're not yet sure. So I want you to look at this plan. Compare my plan to Governor Romney's. I'm not scared of the comparison. I want you to know what's in my plan and what's in his. And see what's better for you and your family and for America. Here's what's in my plan. I want to end tax rates for companies that ship jobs overseas. I want to reward small businesses and manufacturers who create jobs right here in Ohio, right here in the United States of America. Number two, I want to cut our oil imports in half by 2020 so we control more of our own energy. We're less dependent on foreign oil than any time in the last 2 decades. And we're producing jobs doing it. And one reason, by the way, is because we increased fuel efficiency standards on cars and trucks made right here in America. So your cars and trucks will go twice as strong as your gas. I don't want fuel-efficient cars with long-lasting batteries or wind turbines or solar panels built in China. I don't want them built here. I want them manufactured in Cleveland. I want them made in Ohio. I want them stamped with Made in America. We can do that. I also want to make sure that our kids and our workers are better trained than everybody else. We've got to make this a national mission. I want to recruit 100,000 math and science teachers to make sure our kids are at the cutting edge. I want to train 2 million workers at community colleges so they have the skills for the jobs that are there right now and the jobs of the future. I want to work to make sure that colleges and universities keep tuition down so our young people are encouraged to go. Number 4, I plan will cut the deficit by $4 trillion over the next 10 years. You need to be there. We're going to do it in the balance. We can do it without sticking it to the middle class. I'm going to cut out spending that we don't need. We've already cut $1 trillion, but I'm also going to ask the wealthiest among us to pay a little bit more. So that we can invest in research and technology to keep new jobs and businesses coming to America. And by the way, I'm not going to use deficit reduction as an excuse to turn Medicare into a voucher system. Should not be spending the golden years at the mercy of insurance companies. And by the way, while we're on the topic of health care, we saw again this week, you don't want a bunch of politicians in Washington, most of whom are male, making health care decisions for women. They want to make those decisions themselves. That's what I stand for. That's what I continue to stand for as President of the United States of America. Number 5, as we are ending the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, I want to take some of the money that we saved and put it to work doing some nation building here at home. We got construction workers and folks in the trade who are at home right now. They're dying to get back to work. Let's put them back to work, rebuilding our roads and our bridges, our schools all across America. Let's train our veterans as they're coming home to get some of those jobs. Let's make sure that we're giving them a chance to be police officers and firefighters and first responders. Let's make sure our veterans, when they come home, are being served as well as they've served us, because nobody should have to fight for a job when you fought for your country. You should have to fight for a roof over your heads when you how you create good middle-class jobs. That's how you encourage new businesses to start here and stay here. That's how you increase take-home pay. That's how you give workers a chance, if they're willing to work hard, to build a better life for themselves. That's how you make sure that everybody's got a chance to get ahead. That's what we can do, but we can only do it together. In Ohio, I'm going to need you to do it. It's now up to you to choose the path that we take. It's up to the young people who are here. It's up to the not so young people like me. And you know who you are. To choose the future you want for the next generation. We can go back to the top-down policies that we know in our gut won't work. Or you can choose the policies that we know give us the prospect of broad-based prosperity. You can choose a foreign policy, like Governor Roberts offered to strike us abroad, or you can choose the kind of policy that is steady and strong. You can choose to turn back the clock 50 years for women and immigrants and gays. Or in this election, you can stand up for that basic principle enshrined in our founding documents, that all of us are created equal. All of us are endowed with certain inalienable rights by our Creator. And it doesn't matter whether you're black or white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, young or old, rich or poor, gay or straight, able or disabled, we all have a place in America if we know it. Every day, I think about everybody out there, all across the country, who wants to work and is still looking for a job. Whose homes may be still underwater or at risk of foreclosure. The folks out there who, at the end of the month, are sitting around the kitchen table, trying to figure out, how am I going to make all these bills? Michelle and I understand it because we know what it's been like to have a tough time sometimes. But I also know, and all of you remind me of this every day, when I'm talking to the American people, we're tougher than tough times. We always bounce back. We always come out on top. Because we pull together. Because we look out for one another. Because we leave nobody behind. Because we don't forget where we come from. Because if we're successful, then we keep the door open for folks who are coming up from behind. Because we don't look backwards, we look forward. We look at that distant horizon. We look at that new frontier. We are not afraid of the future. America, our destiny is not written for us, it's written by us. And we can write that next chapter together. And that's why I'm asking you for your vote in this election. I promise you, you will continue to have a president who hears your voice. A president who fights for your families. A president who spends every waking hour trying to figure out how I can make sure that your lives are a little bit better. And more importantly, that all of our children's lives are a whole lot better. Ohio, I believe in you.